I think we've all had this one.
Oh, this is
During
nice.
work from home, our kid demands a lot of our time. So how do you handle this? Oh yeah, I love how they just look at each other and laugh. That this is gonna be good.
But it's really a struggle because Mark has a full time work, and then I mean managing the house, and then the small business could be very demanding too. But most of the time, Tico stays with me because I have more flexible hours in a sense. But but I try to make blocks of time. Like in the morning, it's I try to focus on chores, and then getting Tikoy ready, like giving him a bath and some playtime. We try to get as much sun time outside, as much outside world we can give him, because we can sense that he feels cooped up as well.
Yeah.
And then for the rest of the day, if Mark doesn't have a serious meeting, he can stay on the background because he likes to
Join Zoom meeting.
join
Yeah.
join. Yeah, in my meetings, they usually look for him, or his office mates would look for him. But if we try to tell each other every day, we try to tell each other, I have this meeting. Tikoy can be on the background. We would just give him some toys so he can distract himself. But most of the time, he'd like to what you shared, Lippy. He would like to sit on Mark's lap and then join the meeting and press buttons. But yeah, and then when it comes to chores, we also divide them, and taking care of Tikoy is another thing to what do you how can you say it? Kind of, we just share the obligation. Like if Mark feels like he can work with Tikoy on the side, then good, so I can focus on my other things.
I guess for me, the physical space is very important.
Right.
When we shifted to work from home, actually I was more invading the space of Tikoy more than he was invading my space, because the room where he usually plays and take his nap, that's what we created my home office. And so but I think with regards to physical space, when he saw that I had like the swivel chair and I had the laptop here, for him, whenever he sees me sitting there and working and typing, he knows it's work. So I guess that's very important because we've set that in a way like a boundary. The second thing would be, how do we manage his expectation? So we've learned early on during the work from home that whenever we have like a serious meeting or like a webinar where I'm involved in, we tell it to each other in the morning. Like, I have a webinar at 3 p.m. So we tell everyone that. So later, Tikoy had this, like, so when his grandmother would ask him, like, what are you doing this afternoon? And then he would say, like, I have a webinar at 5 p.m. So he had no idea, but yeah, he gets that when we manage expectation. It's actually more of for the entire household. Because also my Tikoy's lolo or grandfather also do a lot of things in the workshop. So welding, so medyo maingay siya. So it's actually for the entire family that we want to manage expectations. So like, I have a serious meeting at 4 or like that. And so Tikoy has to be downstairs or somewhere that he cannot be heard when he keeps on shouting. So I guess that's how with regards to work from home.
But we're also fortunate to have to be part of organizations that are forgiving for when it comes to work from home moms or moms with small kids, and
Or family oriented,
very accepting, or we have the humor to just adjust for the kid, because this is the reality right now, with the
Yeah.
pandemic. Talagang merong dadaan at dadaan sa likod mo during the
Hopefully with shirts on.
At hopefully anak nyo, di ba?
Hopefully, I mean, we can't make this shit. So that's another story. You know, things I see in my Zoom meetings.
Things that people see in your Zoom meeting.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And just as we were talking about family, so we have a shout out. Says, "Hi Abby from Maria Nazareno Plaza."
That's my mom.
There you go. And
Hi,
and that's interesting. I mean, going back to what Mark and Abby, what you guys were saying, right? And I can totally relate about that because Tico is really small. You know, he's a kid, and it's so some strategizing and some planning has to be involved for the day to go smooth. And when I say go smoothly, meaning you take your serious meeting, you know, without having any distractions and such, right? If you gotta focus.
Yeah. I like what, there are three things that, is it three or four? Well, three, I think, that stood out for me in what Abby and Mark shared. So first was the blocks of time, which I think is important. In fact, that's one of the first tips I also heard early on. Maybe there need to be clear blocks of time. I actually, the most interesting point that came up was the idea of determining which meetings he can join. Because for me, it has happened with me, but it's always been accidental lang. Yung parang lumabas lang siya, and to your point, maybe it was preset in my head na okay lang because hindi serious, hindi client-facing. But I never thought of it as a deliberate, okay lang na makasali siya. It was more of a, kung magkataon, okay lang na makapasok siya sa kwarto. But I like I guess the deliberate decision that pwede siyang nasa background or it's okay if he sits on your lap. Because that happens with me. But early on, it started out as a frustration. Frustration with the kid, frustration with the other people in the house na parang, why isn't anyone handling the baby? Don't you know I'm in a meeting? But yun nga, to be fair, everyone has their own battles to deal with in work from home, di ba?
And some things that our team is you know, it's also appreciating is that they love that how important it is for the two to communicate with, you know,
That's true.
how the two of you are communicating with each other, and maybe not just the two of you, also with like the whole family as well, right?
Yeah.
So setting the tone, making sure that Tikoy doesn't, you know, it's taken care of. It doesn't get lost just because the two of you are in meetings. It's not like, where's our son? After this?" You know, and managing expectations as well with your
Yeah.
son.
I think managing expectations with the son is somewhat underrated because we tend to think, what do they know about adult
Kasi bata
meetings?
yan, di ba?
Diba? Kasi bata yan. But yeah, in my experience, and I love how Mark and Abby brought it up because I think my experience, it actually helps. Yes, there are times where it will be challenging. But for example, for us, we try and say, Nathan later on, or Nathan at when because he likes looking at the clock. So when we say, when the shorthand is at 2, at 3, I will go into the room first, or I will have a meeting first. Minsan, you will run into the five levels of why. Pero at least, to your point, he and the rest of the household know what to expect. And it doesn't come as a shock. Kasi conversely naman, what I have seen not work is literally I run into the room, I lock the door. Yun, met with fireworks and banging on the door.
Yeah. So I think that's right. I mean, it's I'm seeing it as like a practice really of communicating and letting people know. And again, I everything you need to know you learn in kindergarten. Again, I'm thinking of my coaches who've had similar situations where just because they have not communicated, you know, all these bad stuff and all these miscommunication stuff happens. And I like
unnecessary fireworks.
Yeah. You know, something as simple as I got the conference room from 1 to 2 p.m. Something like that. Just something like that. You know?